Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
There is nothing new under the sun. Yet each day we have the power to create good for ourselves, our loved ones, and even strangers we may never meet. We hope that you stepped into this opportunity today. Today we welcome Fred Lee Brandon, who is an entrepreneur, author, international speaker, and technologist. With over 20 years of IT experience, Fred has used his expertise to teach and build across the world. He is a serial entrepreneur. He's a huge advocate of children's literacy programs, STEAM, and financial literacy. And he is the author of a timely financial book, Adopting Blockchain and Cryptocurrency, Embracing a Digital Future. So we welcome you, Mr. Brandon.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so appreciative to be on tonight.
Thank you. We appreciate having you. And plus, you in my field. I'm in techie too. Over 30 years in the field.
Oh, wow.
I was there with the big mainframes.
Oh, exactly. Wow. I remember them.
Yes, exactly. So, Brad, tell us, where did all this begin?
So many years ago. I've always been a fan of technology. I was like a math geek when I was a kid, so I've always been into math, science, technology, those things of that sort. So just, that started everything. Just going and doing everything and just being really nerdy, right? So, so it started many years ago, and I just stuck with it. After a while, I've been in the tech industry for, over 20 years. But, it all kind of started with HTML, just kind of, actually before that, it was like learning basic in school, right? Mm-hmm. And after that, once I actually got into the working world, it was more of like HTML and JavaScript and all of that great stuff. So it's been a journey for the last those last 20 years.
So let me ask, what in the technical world, what did you do? What was you a programmer? Support?
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Over the years, I've pretty much done everything, right? So, like I said, I started with doing like web design. It kind of transformed into working in the Microsoft space. So I've been doing that for the last, let's say 13 years, maybe 14 years. I was working with a lot of SharePoint and a lot of things in the Microsoft space. So that's been my claim to fame for the last over the decade. So I've been doing that for a long year. And now I'm starting to transition from some of that space, doing it from a little bit of the cloud environment to moving over to blockchain and cryptocurrency now.
All right. That's exactly what I want to talk about. Blockchain. For sure, because, as an IT professional, I'm in more of the support role. I keep the computers running so people can do their job. With the pandemic, of course, we've been kind of thrown into SharePoint. I did the training, but then immediately after the training, it was lockdown.
Right.
So we had to escalate the SharePoint environment. The population of people that I work with some of them are like 80 years old.
Right.
That was a huge curve.
Right.
For many of my users. But it was fun. A lot of them are coachable, so that made it easier. You have to, reiterate a lot of times in order for them to understand how that technology works. Now, the blockchain and the crypto, recently I'll say probably the last maybe 4 or 5 months, I've been, learning about the cryptocurrencies. Can you explain exactly what that is?
That's a loaded question, but yes, I'll try to explain it.
Well, in layman terms.
All right, so yeah, I'll make sure that it's very layman. So, blockchain technology. What it all involves is trying to think of this as a distributed ledger, being able to have one ledger or one database. What we have right now, everything is pretty much centralized into one centralized database, maybe a SQL server or something like that. But with blockchain technology, you're going to have something that is going to be decentralized and distributed. So instead of it being in one central location, it's going to be across many different nodes. So you won't have that single point of failure. And it makes everything a lot easier for transparency and to keep secure, because they use something called cryptography to do so. So hopefully that was not too crazy.
Okay, well, we have the novice here. So, Ruth,
Yes.
did you get that, or you need more?
I need more. I need to understand what cryptocurrency is. What is cryptocurrency?
Okay, so that's a facet of blockchain, right? So blockchain is going to be the underlying platform. That is what everything is going to be built on top of. So the cryptocurrency comes into effect to say this is something that is built on top of the blockchain. Cryptocurrency or digital currencies going to get away from the fiat currency that we all know and love, right? So everything that we know now is going to change with the cryptocurrency.
Okay, what is fiat?
Fiat is technically it is money or currency that is distributed by the government, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be backed by anything. It's just something that the government has decided to say, this is what we're going to use for our currency. What we all know and loved or all thought was that the US dollar was backed by gold, but that stopped in 1971. So right now it is not backed by pretty much anything right now. So like I said, fiat is going to be something that is provided by the government, and that's not just the US government, any government that they say this is going to be our currency for the country.
For the novice, what fiat is basically our dollars.
Yes.
Francs in France, was or is the British pound sterling, whatever.
Right.
That paper stuff that we have slaved away for. So
Exactly.
that's going away.
Yes.
And now we're going to have a digital currency.
Yes.
The question becomes, what is that going to look like? How do we lose the idea of paper money and translate ourselves to this new concept?
I think it boils down to understanding what money is, and then we can go from there, right? A lot of people don't understand what money is, and that's kind of the root issue, right? So if you think about it right now, you've used cryptocurrency or digital currency for the last 30 years, 40 years, easily, right? And I'm gonna show you how. As I mentioned before, with blockchain, you're going to be going from one ledger to another ledger. How does a credit card work? A credit card is just simply moving accounts, money from one account and putting it on another account. So the exact same thing, or even a checkbook. Checkbook is, when we used to write checks, the exact same thing. We have a routing number. We have an account number. And we're pretty much going to be sending that value that we put on the check to another account. So the same type of mentality that we've always used, we're just putting a new face on it. So I think that's the easiest way for people to start conceptualizing what digital currency is, instead of just saying and getting away from something that we can touch and feel. As we look into some of the things that we're using right now, whether it is PayPal or Cash App or things like that, it's all digital. we're not physically touching any money anymore. So, we're just, hey, cash at me, send me money, and we're never even touching it anymore. Those type of concepts is, what we really need to start thinking about. And just, when we hear of things like Bitcoin and all these other digital currencies, just realize that we've been using digital currencies for the last years.
Okay. Think I got that piece. So we're going to be talking about a digital currency that is, the platform for it is going to be blockchain.
Yes.
All the cryptocurrencies by whatever name, Bitcoins, whatever, are going to be based on that platform. Am I getting that right?
No. So you were close. You were close. So, each blockchain will be different, right? So Bitcoin has its own blockchain. It is like the granddaddy of them all. It was the very first one. So it has its own purpose. There are a lot of different blockchains that have different purposes. When you start hearing some of these other names like Litecoin or Ethereum, they do different things. So once we start delving into the world of blockchain, we'll start seeing, what some of these other use cases and purposes for blockchain is. So it's not necessarily all going to be about like a currency, so to speak, but it will have different use cases.
So with the cryptocurrency, I know it's huge right now. I was just looking at the numbers and it's surpassed, I think, $25,000 per coin, which is huge because I know the little bit I put in the last 5 months has doubled.
Exactly.
Nothing like a savings account has ever done.
Right.
In order to get people wrapped up, adopting your book, adopting blockchain and cryptocurrency, what are some of the things that you do to get people more engaged with this form of currency?
So I've been teaching, of course. I'm also a part of something called the Black Bitcoin Billionaires. It is a new club that we started on Clubhouse that we're doing right now, and we're talking to a lot of newbies for the most part. Well, actually, people who are seasoned and newbies, but pretty much talking to the newbies and trying to get them to understand exactly what Bitcoin is and how they can start wrapping their mind around trying to this technology. The way things are going, and as you can see, as you said, if you had start investing in Bitcoin roughly October or September, it was still around $10,000. And already now it's already up to 26. So you already would have, at least doubled your money in the last couple of months. So I think that type of mentality and people just understanding the store of value is key. Once you understand the store of value, I think that will allow them to understand exactly what this will wind up being. If you look into, if you start looking on Twitter, if you start looking into the news, you can see there are a lot of people and a lot of companies that are buying up all the Bitcoin. And, whether it's Grayscale or MicroStrategies, now there's only going to be 21 million of these. Scarcity is going to be an issue. As you see all these companies that's buying all this Bitcoin up, the price is definitely going to go up because it's going to be hard to get to.
Okay.
So that's why, I try to influence people and try to, explain to them that this is something that you want to start investing in because it's going to be scarce throughout the year. So this is the prime time to get into it.
You said that this
Yes.
whole Bitcoin is going to be scarce. What will that mean for people who do not invest, who do not know about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? What is that scarcity going to mean for them?
It's going to be hard. It's going to be rough because as you see the price of Bitcoin, go up, it's going to be harder and harder to get. What you're going to see is these companies, like these Grayscales and these MicroStrategies, they're going to be able to have this at their disposal and be able to leverage it. That's one of the things that we probably don't know if we're not financially literate and don't know how to start, using leverage to our advantage, you're going to miss out. One thing I tell people all the time is, learn to be financially literate, whether it is investing in real estate, investing in crypto, and whatever. I'm actually very knowledgeable about is they're not going to make any more earth, right? So you might want to get you some of that. So in the same aspect of something being scarce as something that, there's a limit to Bitcoin. It's only going to be 21 million of these. And since there are some that are actually locked and frozen that we won't even be able to get to or be able to mine, you might as well reduce that number to 18 million or somewhere in there, right? So 18 million, if this is going to be a global economy, you do the numbers. That's why I'm saying it's very key and very important for people to start getting in now. Bitcoin has been around for the last 11 years now. It came out roughly in 2009. And so it's been building up. Adoption is the issue. A lot of people don't understand it. They don't understand how it works, or they don't understand why they should start looking into it. This paper money is what they've always known. But they can print up more money anytime they want. If it's not backed by gold, if it's not backed by anything, but we need another $1 trillion, the Treasury can go print it. So what is that really doing to the value of the dollar?
So again, when you talk about scarcity, you said that it's going to be difficult. Does that mean that those who do not have digital currency own it or trade it or whatever? Does that mean that they're not going to be able to keep a roof over their head, eat? What does that mean in really practical terms? Does that mean that those people who do not have Bitcoin will actually be in a situation of more or less enforced poverty?
Yes and no. And I'm gonna actually explain that. So yes and no, because Bitcoin may not be available. I'm not going to say there's not going to be any money available or any currency, because some of the banks are, because they've tried to dissuade a lot of people from going into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is not run by the government, right? It's not run by anybody. And that's why it's decentralized. It's not governed by the central banks. The central banks are coming out with their own digital currencies to try to keep you in that trap of what they've always kept you in. Rising inflation. They can, tell you, how much this is worth and keep you under the gun, so to speak, how they've always done. Right. So there will be some digital currencies out there, but something that's going to be decentralized like Bitcoin it won't be available. If this is a prime time, even if you're getting, $5 and $10 or something like that, give up that Starbucks coffee for a week or something and just start investing now. So at least you'll have some available when things start.
How much does it take to start investing in Bitcoin, in cryptocurrency?
I would say roughly $5. Start with $5. If that's all you want to start with, you can start with $5. You can do this as small as $1, but with the fees and everything, that's going to be I would say $5. So that should give you maybe about $4.01 worth of Bitcoin. But you can do that on Cash App today. If you have Cash App, you can go right in there and buy a little bit of Bitcoin right now if you want to.
Yeah, and that's the good thing I like is you can buy. It's moving 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
right.
365 days a year.
Exactly.
It's constant trading.
Right.
Okay, I just have lots of questions.
Go ahead, bring them.
That's what we're here for.
One of the major, because there's so many people who really don't understand it. There's so many false stories out there about what cryptocurrency is. People are afraid of it because they don't understand what it is.
Right.
How do people get in touch with you?
The easiest way to find me is fredbrandon.info, which is my website. I have all of my social media on there as well. I have contact pages. I have a book me link on that site. So if you just want to learn about crypto, you can do that as well. I am IMF branded on all social media platforms. So that makes it a lot easier as well.
So my next question. I heard you at the beginning say something about teaching. Do you teach have classes, online classes with cryptocurrency?
I do one-on-ones right now. I was putting classes together, but right now time, so I'll make it a lot easier to do one-on-ones.
All right. I have a lot of questions because this is new to me. I've seen it. I've done some reading and totally didn't understand it. And it's a whole change in perception. We have been doing digital currency for years,
Right.
we just didn't recognize that that's what it was. And I remember a friend of mine said to me a few years ago, she said, money is just a blip on the screen.
Right.
It's going from one place to the other. It's not even, no one ever touches it. No one ever sees it. It's a number on the screen. It goes from this place to that place. So
Right.
that was digital currency. But I
Exactly.
hate to say this, I'm just putting that together. I'm just getting it. Yes, indeed. I basically am checklist, so everything that I do is digital.
Right.
There's no real money being touched or held by anyone.
Exactly.
So I think that for me is the beginning of knowledge and understanding. And then to understand that each of these cryptocurrencies is going to have its own blockchain, so to
Right.
expression. That's what it will be linked to. So
Right.
what is it that if you're going to do, let's use Bitcoin, what blockchain do you have to understand? What are the connections that we have to understand?
As a consumer or as a technology?
As a consumer, because I'll never be in the technology.
There's honestly, there's not much for as a consumer that you really need to understand.
Okay.
Right? I mean, because right now I can ask you, how does the credit card bank machine works right now? When you swipe your card or when you tap your card, the underlying technology is not something that a lot of people understand. They just say, "Oh, I insert card here." Oh, okay, and that's all you do, right? So I think sometimes we overthink overthink it a little bit to say, okay, we really want to understand how the tech works. If that's what you want to do, I'm here for it, and I'm always willing to teach it. But for the average consumer, learning how the technology works is not necessarily a must-have. Because if I ask you how email works, no one can tell you. If I ask you how does the bank card work now, no one can tell me. You just know that you use it all the time, So those type of things is like sometimes we overthink things a little bit, but at the same time we still use the technology now. So I think once we start adopting exactly what it is and understanding how things work, then we'll just go with it because whether we're playing games, because blockchain has so many different use cases. So just say one of the examples is a blockchain will be used for medical records, right? So you're being able to use a blockchain. There's a lot of companies that are using blockchain right now, whether it's health industry, Starbucks uses it for supply chain, Singapore Airlines. So they're doing a lot of different things. Liberty Mutual is using things for their claims. So blockchain as a whole has a lot of different use cases because now, there's a lot of different verifications. It's sending information from here to there. And it's, so that's kind of like in a nutshell, a lot of things that blockchain can do. Understanding, use case and why you would use it is something totally different than just understanding how money works. Or if I'm going to send something to a friend of mine, just say you have a family member and you want to send them money, right? Right now we can use PayPal, we can use Cash App or something. We're doing the exact same thing. I'm just going to be able to send them Bitcoin instead of, these mythical dollars that we have right now that we're sending.
You call them mythical dollars.
So,
Okay.
So it would be the exact same thing, right? Nothing would be any different. But the same technology, we may be being able to say, I want to be able to have my health records, send my health records to somewhere else or to another doctor. You know how that can be. If you're going from one doctor to another doctor, you have to wait on, results to go here or there. then you have to wait on, someone to have prescriptions or whatever, right? If this was all encapsulated within a blockchain, you have everything there and everything would be visible or transparent to the people who needs to see it. So, like I said, there's a lot of different use cases for blockchain. And unless you're like really techie, then it's like, hey, I really want to know how it goes from point A to B, C to D. It's not necessary for everybody just to know that it kind of works.
Okay. All right. Well, that's comforting.
But if you want to know, if you want to get into the techie side, I'm here for it, and I'm willing to help anyone learn about it.
All right. This is a fascinating conversation because it is something that I've been curious about. I've heard about it, but I've been sort of standoffish. Right. But I won't be standoffish. It's something that we need to understand because evidently this is the way the world is going as far as finances are concerned. Right. And I know for older ones, and as you can see, I'm part of that group. This is, we have to get past the dollars and cents if we want to be able to function right. in the years ahead. And those years ahead are not, it's not going to be that long before we're really going to be confronted with this as this is what you need to have in order to be able to continue to function. Right. So I really appreciate you coming on and fielding my questions and answering them. I feel a lot less ignorant. I'll use that word because, and there's nothing I can honestly say that my generation, especially African American, and I'm sure it's true of many other people, it's not just African Americans, right. grew up financially ignorant. Right. We were given our first, little dollar bill or quarters, and we ran down to the candy store, and our world was that 25-cent bag of goodies. And that's kind of like where our intelligence with money stood until we started having to pay bills. And we had to learn how to, Ida has a good point on this. We have to learn how to work and what that paycheck is and who all these people are who get part of your paycheck before you do, right. And it's really interesting because part of that learning process was that I really don't have control over my money. I can earn so much money, but everybody else gets to it first. And then at the end of the year, I have to give more. Right. So this is different because we're learning what digital currency is going to be. If we want to function in the years ahead, we must learn. We must learn what digital currency is, how to have a piece of it, and then we're going to have to learn how to use it. Right. So there is no more room for financial illiteracy, or I'm just going to put it bluntly, financial ignorance. Those days are gone.
I totally agree. And I think that's where it starts. Whether it starts in the home, it starts when we're young, being able to teach kids how to save, how to invest, how to do everything. One of the good things about, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and what it's going to do, it's going to allow, you to be in control of your money. Before whether we were, keeping money in the mattress or keeping it in a sack or something like that, we knew exactly what it was. We controlled our own money. We knew exactly where it was. But over the years, we've become, very lackadaisical when it comes to our own finances. Yeah. And it's, we've given all the power to the banks, and what, just to, put it nicely, maybe they might give us 1% of our money at the, 1%, maybe, that's if you got a nice CD or something, they may give you 1%. Mm-hmm. But what they're doing with your money is they're lending it out, paying everybody else off, making more money and interest off of your money. Yeah. But then, let you want to take out a lot of your money. You have to go jump through hoops. You have to, you might have to pay your own self back if you want to loan, you want to borrow your own money. I mean, so, I mean, we have to really talk about what's really been happening in this banking system.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so when we start putting the money and putting the power back in our own pockets and putting it back on our own selves to say, okay, look, I want to be in charge of this. I don't need the middleman. You know, I can pay you directly. I can pay them directly. I don't need to have a Western Union or something that's going to jack up the prices or take, 30%
Mm-hmm.
or something I'm trying to send to someone overseas, family home or something like that, right? You don't want to be able to, be in that construct where, you're a slave to the banking system. So that is the one good thing that this will provide. And like I said, it's all about financial literacy, being able to understand how you can leverage Bitcoin or any type of cryptocurrency to work in your favor. So like I said, it starts with just understanding how money works and how you can make it work for you.
Okay, I have one more question. I'm sorry. But listening to this about Bitcoin, families in the past have always, if they thought about it at all, wanted to leave a legacy for their children. Is this something that parents should think about investing in now for their children's future?
Definitely. I mean, this is something that's going to grow over time. Like I said, they're not even finished mining Bitcoin yet. They're not going to finish mining for another 20 years. So there's a lot more Bitcoin out there, but at the same time, remember, it's still going to be scarce. So this is something like, you can't plant the tree and swing from it too, right? So you have to be able to plant a tree, do whatever you need to do now, lay that foundation. And then as we start thinking about generational wealth and start thinking about, our grandkids and all of those people, then, that's going to give them something to build off of. So that's why I say it starts now, because, some of the people who have been in Bitcoin since 2009, of course, they have their nice little nest egg that they've already built up. And, one Bitcoin right now is like 26,000. So, just imagine if they had, hundreds of them, thousands of them, right? So they're already set. But at the same time, you have so many people who have not touched the Bitcoin yet, don't know what it is. We're talking probably less than 3% worldwide who probably don't even have it. There's a lot more room to grow, a lot more opportunities to get on this train. And I just, I hope people start to listen and start to get on board, because it's going to be something that's going to, stand the test of time.
Okay, I'm sorry. One more.
So, hey, I mean,
So just as the parents should start looking at this as a platform for their children's future, I'm thinking that parents who have their parents are still living, they should get their parents to start investing in Bitcoin for their future. Because like so many seniors now literally have reached a ceiling in the economy. And okay, 30 years from now, 20 years from now, those who have their parents are still fairly, they're able, but they're going to be concerned about their parents retiring, their parents aging.
Right.
This would be the time for them to come in and start leveraging that Bitcoin so that when their parents do age out and need that assistance, they'll have something viable, not just a monopoly dollars.
Exactly. And if you think about it, this year alone, we were at roughly, $4,000 back in like February or March. And now we're up, it actually hit 28 yesterday, right? It's back down to about 26. So you would have 7 times your money, depending on when you got in earlier this year already. Whatever you got in there at, whether you got $100, you'd be up to, 700 or so already right now. So being able to understand how it works and understand why it's a necessity to get into it now is ideal. for everyone, whether it is, the senior or, something that you're thinking about for your grandkids.
Wow. We definitely go on and on with this
Yes.
conversation. So you already know we have to continue this often because there's a lot that people don't understand.
Right.
More than what they do understand. And I mean, like I said, I just got started this year and, I've had to go to quite a few meetings and at first it was walk, 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 walk. And then I just kept going and listening to the jargon, the terms. And then as terms came up, I go Google it, look it up. What is this? What is fiat? What is a blockchain? Things like that. And by me being in computers, I kind of I understood the platform of how it works. Now I'm just putting money into it was a struggle even just learning how to trade because a lot of these platforms, they want you to send your back front of your license, your face, just going through that whole process.
Right.
And I found that in order to really learn, you got to do it.
Right.
You can read it's computers. You can't read a book to me and do computers. You got to read and do.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get your hands dirty a little bit.
Yeah. And I think I put $10 the first time and then I did 20. And then what I found is like in some of these groups, there's a lot of different types of platforms, that are out that you can buy into, which some I understand, some I don't understand. I just do the Cash App.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier for, newbies to accept it because it's something that you've already been using. If you've already been using Cash App, it's like one button on there you can buy stocks or Bitcoin right there. So.
Yeah, and it is easy and then I think you need to have a system. Just like anything, you need to be consistent. If you're going to put $25 or $20 whenever you get your money, then you need to do that.
Right. That's called a dollar cost averaging. So that makes it a lot easier if you are, just getting started. So to dollar cost average is, instead of you looking, for the ups and lows or something like that, for trying to wait for the dip to happen. That's kind of just waiting for the price to come down a little bit. Then if you're just putting in maybe $5 or $10 a week, then you're not really worried about it. But you're constantly doing it. And so dollar cost average is probably the best ideal way for, people to start getting some Bitcoin because now you're not even worried about it. Like I said, it may be those, 2 cups of coffee a week that you decide to not buy and you buy Bitcoin because, it's, what's going to benefit you more, the coffee for, an hour or 2 hours or something that's going to build up over time.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we're going to have you back because as you can see, questions, and more questions. Okay. So again, how can people get in touch with you?
Oh, okay. My website is fredbrandon.info, or you can find me on all social media platforms at IMF Brandon.
Okay. And your book, can you just give the title for everybody?
Sure. It is Adopting Blockchain and Cryptocurrency, Embracing the Digital Future. It is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and anywhere else books are sold right now. Also, you can if you have cryptocurrency and, if you have Bitcoin or Guap Coin, you can actually buy that on my website and you get a discount just for using cryptocurrency.
Okay.
So yeah, I want people to start adopting it, so I will be selling, the book in Bitcoin as well. So.
Oh, okay. I got some good things.
All right. This has been very educational. I thank you so much for spending time with us and fielding my questions and being patiently answering them. Like Ida said, we will have you back because this is knowledge and information that people really do need. They are not aware of what's going on. So many people are still in a stunned position with the pandemic. Right. So these other things are just not even within their frame of reference. Right. So many people are just trying to figure out how they're going to make it from one day to the next. But at $5 a pop as an investment, it's worth them knowing about what this is, this whole movement to a totally digital currency. And that it's not just going to be in their neighborhood, it's going to be global.
It's global.
So we have to get on. If we're going to live in this world, we're going to have to learn about it and understand it and come on board.
Right.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
Absolutely. Well, Fred, we thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This has been really educational.
Absolutely.
So you have to come back so that we can continue the conversation and maybe get into little areas at a time.
Oh, great. Anytime. I appreciate, thank you for having me here. And anytime you want me back, just let me know and I'll make sure to make time for you.
All right. We appreciate that.
Your business through Just Minding My Business Media has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV. Through Just Minding My Business, dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.assistedcircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.